The morning the old man bent his back beneath a torn shawl and stepped into the freezing dawn, he buried a lifetime of wealth under the smell of rusted cans and sour rainwater. No one would have guessed that the trembling woman, pushing a dented garbage cart down the narrow street, was once feared in boardrooms and admired on magazine covers. No one would have guessed that every step she took was a test, not of strength but of love, humility, and truth. This was the day a millionaire chose to disappear, not to escape the world, but to finally see it clearly. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing what is right when no one is watching, please like this video. Comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that touch the heart. The man who now called himself a garbage collecting woman had built an empire from nothing. He had grown up hungry, learned early how cruelty could harden a soul, and promised himself that money would never make him forget where he came from. Yet time has a way of eroding promises, especially when comfort replaces struggle. His son had inherited the business, and his son's wife had inherited the house, the name, and the expectations that came with both. From a distance, the daughter-in-law appeared perfect. She hosted charity events, smiled for photographs, and spoke about compassion with polished grace. But rumors travel faster than truth, and whispers reached the old man about how she treated those with nothing, how her kindness thinned when there was nothing to gain. He did not want to believe it, but doubt settled heavily in his chest. Instead of confronting her, he chose something far more painful and revealing. He chose to become invisible. The disguise was not just clothing, it was a transformation of posture, pace, and presence. He wrapped his body in layers that smelled of neglect, tied his hair into a messy knot, and smeared grime across his hands until his skin no longer looked like it belonged to privilege. He practiced walking slowly, as if every step hurt, as if the world had already taken too much. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself, and that frightened him more than any business risk ever had. He understood then how easily society erases people who appear broken. The first days were unbearable. The city he once ruled now looked down at him. Doors closed quickly. Eyes slid away. People passed as if he were a stain on the sidewalk. He pushed his cart through alleys and markets, collecting what others discarded, and felt the sharp sting of shame mingle with a deeper sorrow. This was not an act, this was reality for millions. Each night he slept in a small rented room far from his mansion, listening to the hum of traffic and the ache in his bones. He told himself to endure, because truth often hides in discomfort. When he finally approached the grand house that once echoed with his laughter, his heart pounded harder than it ever had during a negotiation. He arrived early, before the sun fully rose, pushing his cart toward the gate as if he belonged there. The guards barely glanced at him. To them, he was just another invisible worker. Inside, the house stirred awake. The smell of fresh coffee drifted through the air, a scent he once took for granted. He positioned himself near the side entrance, sorting trash slowly, deliberately, giving the household time to notice him. The daughter-in-law appeared eventually, dressed in elegance even at dawn, her movements sharp and efficient. She noticed the garbage woman with a flicker of irritation, not curiosity. To her, this was an inconvenience, a reminder of disorder intruding on her carefully managed life. The old man watched her closely, every muscle tense, hoping for a sign of warmth. Instead, he saw impatience. She gestured sharply, her face tight, as if the presence of poverty offended her. No offer of water came, no greeting, only the silent command to hurry and leave. The pain of it struck deeper than he expected. This was not how he raised his son to see the world. Days turned into weeks. The old man returned again and again, always as the garbage collecting woman, always watching. He saw how staff members were treated depending on their usefulness. He saw how generosity appeared only when cameras were near. He felt the sting of dismissal repeatedly, and each time it chipped away at the image he once held of his family. Yet amidst the disappointment, something unexpected began to happen. One afternoon, as rain poured relentlessly, the old man slipped on the wet pavement and fell hard beside the trash bins. Pain shot through his side, and for a moment he could not breathe. People walked past, avoiding eye contact, afraid of involvement. The world blurred, and he wondered if he had gone too far. Then a shadow fell over him, not sharp and impatient, but hesitant and concerned. It was not the daughter-in-law. It was a young housemaid new to the household, someone he had barely noticed before. She helped him up slowly, offered him her own scarf, and waited until he could stand. There was no calculation in her eyes, only simple human concern. In that moment, the old man felt both gratitude and sorrow. Kindness, he realized, still existed, but it often lived in quiet places. The incident changed something inside him. He began to see the daughter-in-law not as a villain, but as someone deeply afraid. Afraid of losing status, control, and approval. Her harshness was armor, forged from insecurity rather than cruelty alone. Still, understanding did not erase responsibility. He needed to know if she could change, if empathy could be learned when life stripped away comfort. The turning point came on a bitterly cold morning when the garbage woman arrived shivering, her hands visibly trembling. The daughter-in-law watched from the window, irritation flickering as usual, but something made her pause. Perhaps it was the memory of her own difficult childhood long buried. Perhaps it was exhaustion from maintaining perfection. Whatever it was, she stepped outside, hesitated, then placed an old coat over the garbage woman's shoulders. It was not a grand gesture, and it came awkwardly, but it was real. The old man felt tears sting his eyes. That small act weighed more than any fortune he had ever earned. From that day, the daughter-in-law began to change in subtle ways. She left out water. She nodded in acknowledgement. She asked the staff to treat the garbage woman with respect. She did not know why she felt compelled to do it, only that something inside her had softened. The old man watched carefully, hope and caution wrestling within him. Change born from reflection he knew was fragile but powerful. The final test came unexpectedly. One evening, as the garbage woman was leaving, a valuable bracelet slipped from the daughter-in-law's wrist and fell unnoticed near the bins. The old man saw it glitter among the refuse, worth more than the cart he pushed. He could have taken it easily. No one was watching. Instead, he picked it up and waited. When the daughter-in-law realized it was missing, panic spread through the house. Accusations brewed. Suspicion fell quickly, unfairly, toward the invisible. The old man stepped forward and returned the bracelet, his hands steady, his eyes calm. The relief on her face was followed by something heavier: shame. That night, the old man ended the test. The next morning, he arrived not as a garbage-collecting woman, but as himself. The transformation shocked the household. The daughter-in-law stood frozen as realization dawned, every small cruelty replaying in her mind. The old man did not shout or accuse. He spoke with quiet gravity, explaining why he had done what he did, what he had seen, and what it meant. He told her that wealth without compassion was just another form of poverty, and that respect given only when convenient was not respect at all. The daughter-in-law broke down, not from fear of losing her position, but from the weight of truth. She apologized deeply, not only to him, but to every worker she had overlooked. The apology was not perfect or polished, it was raw and humbling. The old man saw then that the test had not been about punishment, but awakening. Before the story ends, please take a moment to comment below and share what this story made you feel, because your voice matters here. In the weeks that followed, the house changed. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. The daughter-in-law began working alongside the staff, learning names, listening to stories. Charity events became quieter and more meaningful. The old man watched from a distance, satisfied not because he had proven a point, but because he had witnessed growth. He returned to his life knowing that true wealth was not measured in assets, but in the ability to see others fully. If this story touched your heart, if it made you reflect on how we treat those who can offer us nothing in return, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps stories like this reach others who may need a reminder that kindness can change everything. The millionaire who once hid behind rags learned that the greatest disguise is privilege, and the greatest revelation comes when it is removed. And somewhere in the quiet rhythm of a cleaner, gentler household, a family rediscovered what it truly meant to be rich,